Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love, to Astro Fenixx, flying into the moment yet again and radiating love as always. And welcome to your weekly astrological reading for the week starting July 8th through the 14th of 2019. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I decided to do this simply as a voice recording. I figured it would actually be a little bit easier on me to edit. And also, just as a note, I'm not going to draw oracle cards or roll my astrology dice in this video. What I figured is I'll probably will do a separate video weekly where I do an oracle card pull. Also, if you aren't following me on Instagram already, be sure to do so because I do a daily tarot card pull over there. And some other announcements, I am still running a sale for this eclipse season. This sale will probably go through the end of July. So if you have thought about getting a reading with me, you can get 33% off of your reading. Now, I do have 8 different services on my page, and this coupon does apply to 5 of them. The other 3 are rather inexpensive anyways, so even if you didn't take advantage of the sale, I still have those other 3 services that are definitely well priced. And if you thought about working with me but didn't necessarily want to dive into like a full reading, then I highly encourage you to take advantage of that as well. One more announcement before I get into this is that I do have a Facebook page, but I'm not as active on it as I would like to be. And while I do want to rev up the activity over there, I've noticed that Facebook groups typically have a lot more interaction, and that's really what I want to do. I want to create a space for the Soul Fam on Facebook via a group. So I actually will be creating a group on Facebook. I will probably post a link to that in the description below because I haven't quite decided what I want to call it yet. I have a couple of names going around, but I kind of wanted to do something unique, and I did think of one that's kind of taking first place at the current moment, because I was going to do either the Phoenix Nest, which kind of is a play off of Astro Fenixx already. I thought about going back to the Aquarian Depths, but I don't think that's like a third place, probably not going to happen. But the other one I thought about was Mythical Rekindled, because, you know, I feel like there's a lot of magic in this world, but it's been suppressed, and I really feel like we need to rekindle and bring back that mythos and bring back that magic, because these myths aren't actually myths, they're real. So I thought that would be a cool name, Mythical Rekindled. The link to all that will be in the description below. But in any event, let's get to this week. So, July 8th through the 14th, 2019, we are in between eclipses. We are coming off of that new moon solar eclipse that occurred in Cancer at 10 degrees. I admittedly underestimated this eclipse. Probably going to make like a personal video on that later for the channel, talking about my experience with it. But I underestimated that eclipse, and I even said going into it that it was going to be very silently potent, because I felt like we weren't really going to feel the eclipse on the day of the eclipse, but it was going to be in the days after where we really feel it. Literally, we have earthquakes in Southern California. If you live in Southern California, I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you remained safe during that. But it's interesting how we really felt the fireworks, literally, of this eclipse several days after it happened. And now going into this second week in the middle of this eclipse, we are really starting to feel what the North Node in Cancer and the South Node in Capricorn are really all about. I don't think that this week will be as potent as last week. Last week, I did put the potency at a 4.4 out of 7 on the electricity scale. I think that honestly should be buffed because the day of the eclipse, I gave it a 6, and honestly, it should have been a 7. And probably the day after should have been a 7 as well. So this week's intensity scale is going to look a little bit closer to last week's. But the truth of the reality is that it's not necessarily as intense. But this week is still no slouch. We got some powerful stuff happening this week. We do have Chiron retrograding this week. We do have the Sun, which will oppose Saturn and Pluto this week. We also have some grand trines. We have a grand trine of water and a grand trine in fire. But before we get into the details of these things, let's look at the intensity scale for this week. So, for Monday, the intensity scale, we do have it at a 4 on the intensity scale, so that is right shoe energy. This is a lot to do with the fact that Chiron is stationing retrograde today, on that day, and the moon will be entering into Libra as well. On Tuesday, the energy kicks up to about a 5.5, so this is the Jolteon energy, right? Yeah, we haven't had Jolteon yet, that's pretty cool. And this is definitely going to bring about this energy because, this is going to be the day where the sun does oppose Saturn, and it's also going to conjunct the north node and oppose the south node. Meanwhile, the moon will be transiting the second and third decans of Libra, making some very powerful aspects, mostly squares. So while it's not going to be as intense as the day of the eclipse last week and the day afterwards, this day is still no slouch at all. On Wednesday, the energy slacks off and returns to a 3, so we get this Pikachu energy, which is kind of funny. Initially, I was going to bring it at a 2, but the moon is entering into Scorpio on that day. It's fall position, and anytime you get the moon in Scorpio, it's at least a little bit intense. So while I am saying that this is Pikachu, this is, if anything, Ash's Pikachu, just because Ash's Pikachu is clearly top tier as far as Pikachus go. And the moon entering into Scorpio is never a slouch of an energy. On Thursday, we get a 4.5, so we do go up a little bit in the intensity scale. Back to Raichu, getting close to Jolteon, but not quite there. The sun will be trining over to Neptune that day, while the moon is actually at 10 degrees of Scorpio. I'll explain why that's important. And this is also going to be the day where we get a grand kite water trine. So that's going to bring about some interesting energy. On Friday, the energy is going to go up just a slight bit to a 5. Even though there's not seemingly a lot of exact aspects happening on this Friday, the reason why I'm putting this at a 5 in the Jolteon energy is because the moon is going to be entering into Sag, and we're going to get our first rather close grand fire trine since April 14th. So it's been a while since we've had this energy. On Saturday, it's probably the least intense day of the week, which is why I brought it down to a 2, which is Marip. So it may seem a little bit docile on this day. The moon's going to continue throughout Sagittarius and make some aspects, but nothing super crazy. Then on Sunday, the energy revs right back up. Why is that? Well, we do have the sun opposing Pluto on this day. And the moon will be entering into Capricorn, which means that we are only a short few days, short couple of days from the lunar eclipse. So the intensity is going to start to build again on Sunday, which brings the overall energy up this week to a 4.2 out of 7. Like I said, not a slouch of a week. We got some powerful days mixed with some rather light days. So it should be kind of an interesting week for sure. So what's going to be happening in detail from day to day on this week? Well, on Monday, this is going to be the day where the moon actually enters into Libra, but we also have a couple of other things going on this day. We do have Venus, which is in Cancer right now, and will actually be making a square over to Chiron, as well as a sextile over to Uranus. These are happening relatively around the same time. What's interesting about this, too, is the fact that, when this is happening, the moon in Libra will actually be opposing Chiron and quincunxing Uranus. Excuse me, I'm getting tripped over my words a little bit. So while Venus is making these aspects, our emotions are really going to be focused on this Libra quality. Relationships, communication, balance, harmony, wanting to integrate things. I really think that the second level to balance is integration, because if you think about it like when you're cooking something, while not all of the ingredients have the same amount, it's not just enough to balance all the ingredients, to measure out the ingredients that goes into whatever it is that you're making. You have to integrate them and bring them all together so it tastes good. And in many ways, this does deal with that Venusian energy, since Venus does rule Libra. So it's like, it really isn't enough to just balance things out. We have to learn how to integrate them. So I think on this day, with Venus being in Cancer, there's certainly going to be this aspect where we're wanting to harmonize with our emotions. And with this square, because this actually is going to form a bit of a T-square between the Moon, Venus, and Chiron. So Venus is really going to be caught between our emotions with the Moon, and as far as when it comes to dealing with people, wanting to cooperate, wanting to bring balance and harmony to things. But it's also going to be caught with this Chiron aspect. So there could be this moment on Monday where people are focused on how other people may have hurt them in the past, or how they may have suffered traumatic events through others in the past. So it's going to be interesting because there's going to be a bit of this conflict where we're wanting to harmonize emotionally with the world around us, but we may be too caught up in what we believe or perceive to be as right and wrong. Because if in many ways you can see Libra as wanting to know or wanting to show what is right and wrong. We have to also remember that Saturn is exalted in Libra. Saturn likes to be in Libra, and Libra is definitely very much so this judge-like energy. But what's happening on this day is that, truthfully, there's no such thing as right and wrong, and I know people don't like to hear that, but there really is no such thing as good or bad. It really is all subjective based off of the person. Now, what does exist is higher vibrational and lower vibrational. I think we can all agree that feeding the homeless has a higher vibration than bombing a church. I think we could all agree that that is the case. But technically, there's no such thing as good or bad. It really is all subjective, which is kind of crazy, and it seems a bit of a paradox. And July 8th really is going to provide that paradox. The one thing that really kind of helps us and saves us on this day is the fact that Venus will be sextiling over to Uranus at 6 degrees. So while Venus is coming off the exact square to the Moon and Chiron, it's going to be making that sextile over to Uranus and Taurus. And I believe that sextiles, if you really want to give it like a keyword, sextiles bring opportunities. So Uranus and Taurus is wanting to open up this opportunity to look at our value and our self-worth and ourselves and in our world from a unique perspective. And, this Uranus and Taurus is already shaking things up quite a bit, literally. So this is going to bring about this opportunity to where, we may have to look at our self-worth in new and fresh ways. And we can't necessarily put super great value in, these emotions from our past, because Venus squaring Chiron is going to be more focused on these emotions from our past. Just going to be real with you. And not just emotions from our past, but how these emotions from our past really kind of cascade and snowball into the present moment. So it's like, it's true. We all have been hurt. We all have suffered some level of trauma, whether it be physical, mental, psychological, spiritual, emotional, and of course there are ranging intensity levels. This is a day where I'm feeling like people may very well try to champion their hurt or their trauma over other people. People may be like, oh, I have more trauma than you, I'm more hurt than you, therefore I should get this. And that really should not be the case. And a lot of times you'll see, or at least social media would like for us to, perceive that a lot of times we see these inspirational stories of people who have suffered these terrible traumas and they overcome them and they inspire other people by them. They're not really worried about championing or even embodying that wound, because Chiron in Aries is about embodying the wound. It's about embodying our trauma and becoming it, identifying with it, over-identification with our trauma and our hurt. These individuals where you see these inspiring stories of people overcoming the odds, they choose not to embody their hurt or their trauma. Another thing about Chiron and Aries I want to talk about is the fact that, when it comes to health and sickness, there's this sort of thing that we all have the ability to heal ourselves. We all have this great capacity to heal ourselves, really, of any disease. And why is it that there are certain individuals when they are handed a for certain quote unquote doom or something bad's going to happen to them health wise? Why is it that some people are able to overcome it and heal, and other people don't? It's because they really believe in themselves. They don't over identify with whatever disease they have. They don't think that they're just going to be, doomed to have that disease forever. They embrace joy. They embrace positivity. They embrace every day as another opportunity to live and share their gift with the world. And thus, disease cannot exist in a body that is at ease. It simply can't happen. So Monday is going to be this day where we are really being taught to be at ease in our body, be at ease with, where we are right now in our circumstances, and to be at ease and even to make peace with our past, to make peace with our traumas, to make peace with our former selves that may have been really hurt. And it's not to say that that hurt is going away, but it's about making peace with it, not overly identifying with it. This is also the day where Chiron is going to station retrograde. So there's really, whenever planets go retrograde, it's in review period, and it's pretty much quote unquote offline, but it's not really offline. It's just, like I say, it's a review period because they are appearing to go backwards. So now that Chiron is stationing retrograde on this day, it's going to appear to be going backwards. So it's going to be really this moment where it's like we're going into this review period. It's like, okay, are you really going to identify with that hurt? How has identifying with this hurt area or trauma hurt you? Remember, this is the wounded healer. So you're not meant to be hurt or sick or at dis-ease within your body forever. You're supposed to heal. You're meant to overcome. You're meant to become more powerful, to move forward. This is meant to be a very empowering day, I feel. Not only that, but we do have Mars moving ahead of Mercury now. It's going to conjunct Mercury retrograde, and this is in Leo. This is in the side of passion, joy, love, loving love for love's sake alone, the royalty, the roar of Leo. And with, our action-oriented energy and Mars making this conjunction to our mental capacity, which is now retrograde in Leo, this is like, what? In many ways, acting in spite of thoughts that may not really resonate with where we want to go. You may have a thought and be like, oh, this is not going anywhere. Oh, this won't manifest. But Mars is like, to put it bluntly, fuck that. I'm still going to embrace and express and act on my joy. You gotta remember, these energies are going to be trining over to this Chiron aspect. And while they will be squaring, Mars and Mercury will be squaring or coming into the square with Uranus, albeit Mercury won't ever quite reach it. Mars will reach it, but Mercury didn't quite reach it. This is going to be about taking bold new action. And it might be scary because, like I said, that Mars square Uranus, which will come, later in the week, squares present challenges to us. But at the same time, it's about acting in our joy in spite of the challenge, and also embracing the fact that new possibilities can arise, which can, of course, give way to deeper, more positive feelings about ourselves, our worth, and our direction, and not really paying attention to what anyone else has to say about it. Not really paying attention to what society has to say about it. That's for Monday. Now, on Tuesday, this is going to be the day where we do have the Sun making that opposition over to Saturn, as well as meeting up with the North Node and opposing the South Node. Now, this is going to be a very powerful day energetically, simply because, we do have the Sun, which is the largest energy that we track in astrology, making this opposition to Saturn, which is the second largest planet. Now, Saturn is, of course, retrograde. And we're going to have all of this 17 energy. The Sun has 17, the North Node has 17, the South Node has 17, and Saturn has 17. 1 plus 7 equals 8, and 8 is Capricorn energy. It is ruled by Saturn. So you would think that Saturn would win in this duel with this opposition in this battle, but in truth, it is going to be the Sun and the North Node that come out on top. Simply because, Saturn is going to be retrograde. There may be a tendency on this day to use status to overstep boundaries, using status to act on things or to go towards things that we may believe to be right or more good. And you probably will see something in the realm of politics on this day, maybe some type of legislation or some type of decree or whatever, where someone may pass it and they feel that it may be good, but it may actually not be as high vibrational for the vast majority of the populace. And that can be kind of that can be one of those energies where it's like, dang, like really? And what's interesting is that the day before we did have the T-square with the moon being in the early decans of Libra. Now we're going to get a T-square in the second decan of Libra, because the moon's going to square the sun and the nodes, and it's going to square over to Saturn. So this day is going to present quite the challenge where, when it comes to status and legacy and, organization, government, politics, whether this happens on the macro or the micro scale, because a lot of people like to bash the government, but everyone has Capricorn energy, whether they have a planet there or not. Everyone has Capricorn energy, as above, so below. So you have a government within you as well. So, this is going to be a day that kind of does put that government in check, but doesn't necessarily want to destroy it, even though Pluto's in Capricorn and is destroying things as we know it. But there is going to be this sort of challenge where we have to be honest about some of the legislation that we have passed metaphorically. And of course, this can deal with actual legislation that has been passed, in our various societies, or the legislations that we have passed in the society of our own body and in our own life. You want to look at, it's like, where may have been off track. The South Node is in Capricorn, so South Node has been there, done that. And now with the Sun over here in Cancer, the North Node over here, and Venus here as well, this is about, striving towards creating, the Cancer does rule the home. So this is about, where in our home life can we create more harmony and better integration. That's really what this Venus wants to do. It wants to bring harmony to this area. It wants to bring beauty to this area. It wants to bring integration to this area. So Tuesday is certainly going to be this day where, we're getting most of these squaring energies. The moon will also sextile Jupiter before it creates this T-square. So this is going to open up this opportunity where it's like, yeah, we can actually have a whole new adventure, but Jupiter is retrograde. So it's about, do you even believe in yourself? Do you even believe that that adventure is possible? Do you even believe that that future is even possible? And then, of course, it's going to King Kunk's Neptune as well, which is also retrograde. So awkward stare from across the room. It's like it's like your dreams are looking at you. It's like, hey, I'm here. I'm obtainable. But you may be looking at it like, does it harmonize with my current reality? You may want to look at your legislation that you have on yourself. On Wednesday, the moon enters into Scorpio, and in the way of, exact aspects on this day, not really much is happening, but the moon in Scorpio is in its fall position, and oh boy, we get another freaking T-square. This time, with the moon being in Scorpio, opposing over to Uranus and making a square over to Mars. So once again, we're getting 3 days back to back to back where we're getting sort of this intense energy where some aspect of us is kind of caught in between everything. The first day, it was Venus being caught in between. The second day, it was really the sun, what we want to create, the light, our love that we give to this world being kind of caught between things. Actually, no, excuse me. It was the moon still in Libra. It was the moon in Libra that was caught between. Today, it's going to be on Wednesday, the 10th, it's going to be Mars that's kind of caught between. So how we act and move forward. Mars is now coming off of the exact conjunction to Mercury on this day, and with this square now, it's like we are going to be feeling a lot more deeply. With the Scorpio energy, we'll be feeling a lot more deeply, and we may even be wanting to. There may be a tendency with the square to Mars to cut off certain individuals or circumstances that don't really resonate with our heart. But we do have to be honest with ourselves. Mars is like, it's maybe wanting to make cuts emotionally, but it's also going to be squaring over to that Uranus energy. So it's about, making cuts when cuts need to be made, but being honest about the communities and the people that we are, that are in our life, that we are attracted to, that we have attracted into our life, because Uranus does in many ways rule communities. It does rule the collective. And it being in Taurus, it's like, there could be this energy where it's like, we want to find our tribe. We definitely want to find our tribe. This whole Uranus and Taurus thing is going to connect a lot of people to their tribe. And we're going to be wanting to find it and wanting to push for it and find the people that like the same stuff with us, that have fun the way that we like to have fun. But then we have to be honest with ourselves about our emotions. And sometimes with the moon of Scorpio, it's hard to be honest about our emotions, despite the fact that Scorpio really is a no bullshit kind of sign. So, this is going to be a day that is going to provide a bit of an emotional challenge simply because the moon's in Scorpio and it's not really the easiest energy to deal with in the first place. And what's good about this day is that by the end of the day, the moon will be trining over to Venus. So after it makes the two squares, it's actually going to quincunx Chiron as well that day. But the trine to Venus at 9 degrees is going to help because not only that, 9 degrees is in numerology ruled by Mars, so that's definitely going to help. That this trine, I like to think that trines bring miracles and healing. So we're going to get this miracle and healing via, this watery element. So in many ways, very much so a cleansing aspect. So even after all these, intense alignments that the moon will be making in this first decan of Scorpio, the trine over to Venus coming off of this decan is going to allow us this opportunity to really, not necessarily, there may be sort of a hastiness and rashness to this day where we may want to just cut off people because we don't necessarily feel good around them, or it's like maybe they say something that disagrees with us and we're like, we may be too, we may be really still kind of caught up in our hurt too, because you gotta remember, like, Mars is going to be trining Chiron most of this day. It won't be exact, but it'll be trining it most of the day, and it'll come into the exact trine early Thursday morning. So, with these two trines here, there's definitely this feeling that, maybe we don't have to over-identify with how we've been hurt in our past and stuff. And maybe the people in our life that we felt like we need to cut out, maybe they aren't actually bad. Maybe they've just been through experiences and circumstances and situations that, kind of made them who they are. Maybe they're over-identifying with their own hurt and stuff. And, we can't really take it super personally. Although I will say, though, with these energies like this, with, Chiron and Aries and, Mars and Leo and the moon in Scorpio, this is definitely a very, I'm going to take a personal kind of energy. But the opposition that the moon will make to Uranus in Taurus is like, there's no really need to take it so personal. And maybe these individuals just aren't ready to, maybe you don't necessarily have to completely cut them out of your life, but maybe just reduce the time around them if they don't really vibe with you, and really also just accept the fact that, it's just a gift and a blessing to have every day. And you never really know what you're going to have until it's gone. You see people that, maybe they go days or weeks or months or years without talking to someone because they hurt them, but then the moment something bad happens to that individual or they pass, most people do feel some type of regret not having healed that relationship. So, you don't really want to travel down that path of just harboring on to this bitterness and, how that really can eat you up, because it's you that's holding on to the bitterness. They're not doing anything to you anymore at that point. It's you doing it to yourself. So just be careful about that. Don't do that to yourself. On Thursday, we do have the Sun, which will be making a trine over to Neptune, as well as making a trine over to the North Node and the Sun in Cancer. So yes, we get this grand water trine, very beautiful healing energy. And it's also going to be creating a kite because, oh, look at that. We have Saturn over here, retrograde, up here in Capricorn, making a sextile over to Neptune, albeit it's not exact, but still there nonetheless, especially since these are large planets and they have a rather large orb of influence, and will be making a sextile over to the Moon. So not only, I like to think of kites as this opportunity to get a greater vantage point. You know, when you look at a kite, yeah, you have to like run, you have to catch the wind so it can actually fly. But it does give you temporarily this great vantage point. Not only that, but it's fun and exhilarating. And just simply being in that moment can be very healing. It can be it kind of taps you back into that inner child. So there's going to be this element today where we get this emotional healing in such a great way, and we kind of get this higher vantage point on, you know, where can we take our legacy? Where's our purpose moving towards? And not being really overly attached to how things are or how things were, but, you know, embracing the fact that, you know, anything really is possible. Anything really is possible. This is also the day where Mars does make that exact square over to Uranus. So at 6 degrees, mind you. And Mars will also, like I said earlier in the day, will exactly trine Chiron, though that's gonna be like really early. It's like 12:30 a.m. So like right after midnight, pretty much. And you know, this is going to be very cool. I think this is going to be very cool, just because this is really going to be a day where it's going to be a little more intense than Monday, not quite as intense as the Tuesday, but the healing quality of this day is really awesome. And it's interesting because as the moon continues this aspect, it will also sextile over to Pluto, which, like I said, sextiles bring opportunities. So this is going to actually bring about an opportunity for you to kill off and to transform, you know, any blocked emotions that you may be experiencing. It's going to help you to move through some darker emotions or some darker feelings that may be stuck within your being. They may actually be stuck within particular parts of your body. One way to really help get these emotions out of your body so they can actually flow, because water is meant to flow. Even water in enclosed lakes still flow. So it doesn't just sit there. So one really good way on this day, you know, Thursday's going to be a very good day to get some exercise. Like, it really is, especially with the Mars squaring over to Uranus. It's going to be a day where it's like you may experience some emotions coming up that you've been suppressing, and one really good way to work through and transform this emotion is to exercise. So like, go for a run, go for a hike. If it's raining or something like that, go to the gym and, you know, kind of get it out of your system. Even if it's only for like 15 minutes, go outside, walk around, put your feet in the grass, put your feet in the dirt, put your hands in the dirt. You know, this is going to be one of those days where, you know, connecting back to the earth, but connecting back to your body too is going to really help you to process these emotions and allow them to flow. Excuse me. On Friday, we do have the moon entering into Sagittarius, and the reason why I made this energy a 5 is because we do get this grand fire trine. So it's interesting how the first few days of the week we do get T square, T square, T square, and then we get grand water trine. Then we get a grand fire trine with the moon moving into Sagittarius, because it's going to be trining over to Chiron and trining over to Mars. The last time that we had a grand fire trine, or at least a close one, was April 14th. We technically got one back in May, but it was a little loose just because it was with Venus in Aries at the time, and Jupiter had just gone retrograde, and the moon in Leo, but the moon, I think it was like the moon and Jupiter were at like 22 degrees, and Venus was at 26 degrees, so it kind of was there, but it wasn't as tight. This one's going to be a lot tighter, and you're going to feel it. So it's like we're going to get this healing the day before, and then the next day we're going to get this kick up of fire energy. You're going to feel it. Friday's going to be a very fiery like energy. Definitely going to be a week where it's like, if it's been like a difficult work week, people are going to be wanting to go out, party, want to go to the club, want to go to celebrate, want to hang out with friends and stuff like that, and which will be a very good day for that, because, you know, we've been through a lot. We really have been through a lot this year, and we have a reason to celebrate every day. But this grand fire trine is really going to bring about a reason to celebrate. Even if, you know, you haven't taken all the actions you feel you need to take to really, you know, exalt your current situation and bring it into what you feel will be a better space or more aligned with your purpose, still celebrate the fact that, man, you woke up today. Man, you have your health. You can breathe. Like, just take a deep breath on this day and just go yahoo! Because this is a really awesome reason to celebrate on Friday. You're gonna feel this grand fire trine. Like I said, the last time this happened was April 14th of this year, so it's been a few months since we've had this energy. So certainly enjoy it. Friday is going to be a day, like I said, it's like you're going to want to celebrate. You're going to want to go out and have fun. There's definitely very much so party energy. Sagittarius is a party animal. Next to Leo, it probably can party the longest. It probably could party longer than Leo if it really wanted to. But this is definitely very much so like club energy. Like, this is like you're gonna want to go out on a night of town and have fun, especially considering the fact that this trine is actually going to be happening later in the day on Friday. So it's like people are going to get off of work and they're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to go out. You know, you may have had a tough week. It may have been a difficult week. It may even have been a week where a lot of challenges presented themselves, but you overcame them. So you even have a reason to celebrate. It's like, you know what, I had a lot of challenges that presented themselves to me this week, but I overcame them. We're moving forward, and oh my goodness, there's a reason to celebrate. So by the time that the evening comes, the moon is going to be creating this trine. It's going to be becoming a lot more exact. So definitely have fun with that, and yeah, treat yourself, have fun. It's gonna be a good day. On Saturday, the energy is going to slack off, so you probably went a little too hard in the paint on Friday, and Saturday is going to kind of feel like a Sunday, just because it's going to be very chill. Some of y'all may be overcoming hangovers, or maybe you smelled a little too much the night before, or you know, whatever activities that you got into. You know, it was probably a very fun night, probably very, very exciting, very, very exhilarating. But Saturday is not really going to be too much happening. You know, it's really going to be the moon making aspects. Quincunxing Venus has 12 degrees, conjuncting Jupiter at 15 degrees, you know, quincunxing the North Node, squaring Neptune. So, I mean, yeah, there's some interesting, maybe some difficult aspects going on here. This quincunxing Venus is... The moon quincunxing Venus is like, you're gonna wake up the next morning and you're gonna be like, oh man, what happened last night? Moon and Sag, quincunx Venus in Cancer, maybe this energy where it's literally like you wake up the next morning and you look over, you saw who you slept with the night before, and you may start to question why you did that. Oh, that's funny. But in any event, I think Saturday's going to be a rather chill day. I don't think really a lot's going to happen. Yeah, the moon will conjunct Jupiter, which would be nice, but Jupiter will be retrograde, so it's going to be like, you know, it's still going to be this energy where you're kind of going to want to look towards the future, but this energy is like, you know, what do you really believe in? You know, do you really believe in your adventure? Do you really believe that you can manifest your reality? But like I said, Saturday's going to be a rather chill day. I feel like it's going to be sort of like the recovery day from Friday night. Then we get to Sunday. Sunday. Oh boy. Yep. Sunday is going to be the day where we do get the sun making the opposition over to Pluto. Pluto and the sun will be at 21 degrees, very close to the 22 degree mark, because it's like the 53rd solar minute they'll actually meet up at. So this, in many ways, I like to see this as the ending of one adventure and going into a new adventure. And it's almost going to be like, I'm really getting this feeling that we're almost going to be like, alright, so 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 in numerology is Jupiter energy and Sagittarius energy. And Sagittarius energy is very much so about the adventure, but since this opposition is happening at the edge of 21 degrees going into 22 degrees, and 2 plus 2 equals 4, which is Uranus energy, I do get the feeling that this opposition is sort of like recapping this whole adventure that our collective society has been on. And this opposition is really going to be recapping, like, okay, what did you learn? How did you love? You know, and with it being so close to that 22 degrees, I think we know that we're about to get downloaded and or uploaded into a new adventure. It's almost like we're going from, like, you know, like any type of game series. You're going from like game 2 to game 3. And it's like, this opposition is almost going to be like the credits are rolling. It's like we finished the last level, we beat the last boss, and now, you know, the sun is going to be at 22 degrees for a great part of the day. So it's almost going to be like, you know, we beat the boss. Now it's time for the new adventure. There may even be this sort of awkward moment where it's like we're waiting for the next game to come out, and we're kind of almost going to be sitting in limbo. But there's going to be this sort of energy where it's like, you know, the moon's going to enter into Cap on this day. What further drives this point home that I feel like this is sort of like the end of one adventure and going into a new adventure, but kind of having to wait to be uploaded or downloaded into the next adventure, is the fact that the moon, as this opposition is happening, is going to be on the galactic center point in Sagittarius. Like, what? So we really are going to be getting this download slash upload from the galactic center point, the center of our galaxy. You know, our destinies are going to be upgraded in many ways. They're going to be upgraded in such a very powerful way on this day. So it's going to be sort of weird where it's like Saturday's going to be this chill day and Sunday suddenly just brings like a pack of a punch. We're going to be like, whoa. Because, you know, almost sort of like, you know, it's going to be sort of like this energy where it's like, it's almost like Friday is the day where we kind of finish the game and we beat the last boss, and then we're like celebrating, you know. And then Saturday's sort of like that weird in between where it's like, you know, okay, so now what? What's the next stage? Sunday is when we realize Sunday's gonna be the day where we realize that all this happened, that we beat the last boss. Now we're ready for the next game, but the next game hasn't come out yet. It probably won't come out yet. I would even say it really will come out at the lunar eclipse. I don't think this new game, quote unquote, will probably come back out until the moon reaches the north node again. So, I mean, but by that time the sun's going to be in Leo, and we got a little bit before that. We got a couple weeks before that. So this is going to be, like I said, one of those weeks where it's kind of up and down. It's going to present to us some challenges and some obstacles to overcome, but also many opportunities for us to celebrate life, to celebrate who we are, where we come from, but also, like, you know, where we're going. Not over-identifying with our past, not over-identifying with our trauma, because all we have is the present moment. All that exists is now. And if we really focus on things that technically don't exist, then it takes us out of this moment. It zaps us out of the moment. But congratulations, you did it. You completed the game, and you're moving on to the next game. You beat the boss, and it really is going to be this moment like we're going to celebrate. Like I said, we're not really going to really be aware of this until that lunar eclipse, and then as far as when the next game comes out, I don't know. Maybe it'll happen when the moon reaches Aries, but we're not at that week yet, so we'll have to see how this continues to evolve over time and transpire. But those are the transits of the week, and it's going to shape up to be a rather powerful week. We are in between eclipses, so we definitely are feeling this energy. And just know that you have everything in you to really manifest anything that you desire. To really manifest anything that you desire, even if things may seem out of place. A lot of people are confused right now. A lot of people are very, very confused right now. They don't necessarily know which way to go. They don't necessarily know how to act. And really, my only recommendation would be to follow your heart. And also, in the moments where you really don't know what to do, take time every day to return to your breath. Take time every day to focus on your breath, whether it's just for a few moments, like maybe at work, something stressful is coming up, and maybe you just have to step away for a moment, take some deep breaths, really connect, and then get back to work and stuff. Or, take time out of your day to meditate, even if it's only for a few minutes. Ideally, 10 to 15 minutes at least. But returning back to your breath allows you to really return back to source and allows you to tap into the inner peace that has never been rustled. It's never been tampered with. It's always there. That's why you're able to return to it. If you notice that when you breathe deeply, you return to peace. It's not like you breathe deeply and suddenly, it's not, the peace is always there. It exists. It's always there. So it's always there for you to return back to that inner harmony, that inner space where nothing can phase you. This is going to be a week where it's going to present some challenges, and you're going to want to take time to really return back to your heart, return back to source, and know that, hey, we're all going through this. We're all going through this together, and we can help each other through this too. We can certainly help each other through this, but people can only help us to the degree that we will help ourselves. So a lot of times, you may watch motivating and inspirational videos online or stuff like that, but they only really work to the degree that you will help yourself and do something. So give yourself a chance. If you're confused, if you're wondering which way to go, give yourself a chance. You don't have to have the perfect plan. That's the other thing about this. You don't have to have the perfect plan right now. Nobody has the perfect plan right now, except for Source, God, Goddess, whatever you want to call that energy. But, this is going to be one of those weeks where it's like, so what I don't have the perfect plan? So what I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to act right now? So what I don't know exactly what I should do right now? So the fuck what? Trust, have faith, put trust in your heart. Put trust in that aspect of you that just is not changing, that peace and that harmony. And just, know that even if you don't know exactly what the hell's going on right now, and believe us, none of us do, even us astrologers that can explain day by day these transits and these aspects, you gotta remember there's a bunch of other things that are happening. Asteroids that we haven't covered, and all these other small intricacies and everything like that we haven't covered. And not only that, but the influences beyond our solar system. So, this is the human experience. Have fun with it. Don't get too caught up and overly identified with, aspects that, may bring you down or even bring you up too. I'm not like, you are an eternal observer of this experience. So there's no need to really get super caught up, and especially these, these aspects and these traumas or these hurts from our past. All that exists is the present moment. All that exists is the present moment. It's a gift to be here. It's a gift to have this moment, and it's really something that we should be appreciative for. That's why, for me, one of my core tenets is gratitude. Gratitude and forgiveness are some of my core tenets. And just remembering to have gratitude every day, and also to forgive myself and to forgive others daily, because I don't really want to hold on to any type of, bitterness or angry energy or anything like that. So gratitude, even for the smallest things, can really help you. It can really, it really does go a long way. But in any event, that is it for this weekly astrological reading. I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, beloved. And if you would like a personal reading with me, you can follow the link in the description below to astrofenixx.com. And as always, my beautiful brothers and sisters, always remember, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.